Hey everybody, welcome back to another nightly walk and talk. It is New Year's Eve, as you can tell by the fireworks and the partying going on. And I'm not really doing much of nothing. This is my last night off of the holidays. I had a full 6 days off Christmas week, I think, and then another 4 days off New Year's weekend, and I have enjoyed every last bit of it. So I hope everybody is having a happy new year. Just remember, drink responsibly, don't drive home, get an Uber or a Lyft or have a designated driver. Y'all be safe out there. So let me go ahead and turn you around. It's getting kind of dark. All right, so I took the case off of my phone so things would focus, since I'm filming at night and it's going to be dark here once I get out from under the street lights, so I want it to be able to focus. So I thought I'd give you an update of all the stuff that's going on, which isn't much. Still working at Amazon with all the problems and difficulties that entails. But it's getting a little better. They trained me on a new forklift, so I'm going to be able to stow pallets and pick pallets if they move me to outbound for any reason. So I won't be working dock nearly as much, which will save my back, since they're not willing to give me the accommodations that I need. At least if I'm picking or stowing, I'm not lifting all that heavy stuff. So it gives me an option when they do need somebody in outbound and I get volunteered or voluntold to go out there. So instead of working dock, I can pick for them. So that's a good thing. They were going to train me on a different forklift, but that forklift I wouldn't be able to use in outbound hardly at all. But this new forklift they trained me on, the reach forklift, I can do that. And so far, since I've trained, they put me on there the one day I worked last week, and I had no problems. And I got the hang of it pretty quickly, and they were actually impressed. Whenever you do something wrong at work, they give you a verbal warning. They call it a DIRE, a DIRE. It stands for something, I'm not sure what. But there are also positive DIREs that they do, and my boss gave me one of those for doing so good on that new forklift the first day out. So, I mean, it's kind of the same stuff I was doing when I was on a turret forklift a year ago. It's just I'm not going down the very narrow aisles that has the wire guide. I'm actually having to go down the aisles, turn the forklift in the aisle, raise the forks, put the pallet in, and bring the forks back down. So it's a little bit more involved than the turret, but the operation, the sequence of events that has to happen when you stow is the same as what I was doing when I was on turret. So I didn't really have to really learn anything new where that's regarding. I just had to remember it and get back into the practice of it. So that's a good thing. It makes me feel better about, doing the work. And my back is going to thank them for it. So work is going good. Now, that doesn't mean I'm still not looking for a different job. I'm always looking for a better job. I was talking to one of our friends who works for State Farm, and she said I could definitely do that job, but you have to be licensed before you get hired, or you have to be able to be licensed within like a week of being hired. And that course that you have to take and pass. Hold on, let me get past the barking ass dogs. That's not safe at all. You just push that plank of the fence right on out. So, what was I saying? Damn it, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, I would have to be licensed before I went to work for that job, and that course costs like $500, unless I hire on and have to take it within a week. They pay for it if that happens, but you have to pass it, or they'll fire you right on the spot. And from everything she was telling me, it's 150 multiple choice questions, and they like to trick you up, and it's fairly difficult. It's insurance claims adjustments. So there's a lot of stuff you have to know, and they do like to trick you up, give you weird ass, strange ass scenarios, and you have to pick who's at fault and who's not at fault. And it's just, I don't know if I would be able to pass it, and I don't want to quit a full-time permanent job on a maybe. So I'm still looking. I mean, if it's at some point in the future I want to spend the money to take the test, hell, I'll go ahead and do it. She says she likes the job. They really bend over backwards for her. She had to have surgery. I forget on what. She had a heart attack, and she was in the hospital. She had to have a bypass surgery, which went well, thank God. But then she found out later that she has cancer. After being out for 6 months or whatever, she came back, and then she found out she has cancer, and so she had to go back out. And they're like, "Don't even sweat it. You'll still get a paycheck until your FMLA kicks in. Don't even sweat it. You'll get your full paycheck. Even though you're not necessarily working, we'll help you out however we can." So it's a good company to work for. It sounds like it's State Farm. So, and they provide the computer, a laptop, and like a dual monitor system, so where you can have multiple screens up. A hub that you can plug everything into, and it's a remote position. You know, she can work from anywhere. So, and I guess they pay fairly decent. So, and of course, there's probably like bonuses and everything she gets and whatever. I don't know. I'll have to talk to her more about it. But that's pretty much it on the job front. Work. Maybe I should have worn my jacket. That thing always startles the hell out of me when it goes off. So I guess I can tell y'all a little bit about what would be coming up for us in 2024. Our lease is up in May, and both daughters were talking about moving out. Which meant we could, you know, downsize to a 2-bedroom instead of a 4-bedroom. That would cut several $100s off of our rent. We pay like $2,100 a month right now. That's one thing about Texas. It's just as bad as the 4th of July around here come New Year's with all the fireworks. Of course, that's probably true in most locations these days. Used to be the fireworks was only for the 4th of July, but I guess it's become mainstream. But anyway, so yeah, we were talking about maybe, you know, getting a smaller house or a smaller apartment, or even like a mobile home or something to move into. If we're staying here. My wife had applied for some jobs up in California, in the San Diego area, but they kind of fell through. So she's still looking for better positions, either in California, Oregon, or here. That's going to pay her more money. If we do stay here, which is infinitely more probable, our stepson, or my stepson, her son, has been talking about they want to move back in with us, him and his fiance, so they can save money for a house. And that would mean they would pay half the rent. My wife would pay half the rent, and I would more than likely be able to go hike my trail. If we had to move somewhere like California, she was talking about getting a smaller place, and also small enough to where she could pay for it, and then I would still go hike my trail. That probably wouldn't be until 2025, because by the time we move and get settled, the hiking season's going to be well underway, and I probably wouldn't have enough time if I started the Appalachian Trail in like June or July, unless I do a Sobo hike, which I don't want to do. I mean, the big finish of the Appalachian Trail, in my opinion, is Mount Katahdin, which is the northern terminus. I don't want to start with the main attraction, you know. Once you start, it would be all downhill from there, and I want to end it with the high note. So it gives me a goal to strive for while I'm hiking. You know, that's the goal, is to summit Katahdin and get that summit photo, you know? So, oh, there we go. Still a little dark. Doesn't want to focus properly, but so anyway, that was hopefully, with the housing situation, however it plays out, hopefully I get to hike that trail in 2025. That's my goal. And like I've been saying before, if it doesn't happen, then it probably won't happen. I'm not going to say definitively it wouldn't happen, but my body is crapping out on me. Especially with my back. So I think it's going to have to happen within the next few years. And hopefully once I get on the trail and get my back used to hiking, maybe it'll strengthen up to where it won't give me as much problems as I'm hiking. I've been noticing lately that pretty much all of my joints have been hurting. My elbows, my wrists, my fingers, my knees, my neck. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if I'm getting arthritis or I don't know. So, you know, I'm 53 years old. My body's only going to get worse. So, if I'm going to do it, it's going to have to be soon. Within the next, say, 3 or 4 years. And like I said, if it doesn't happen 2025, I'm not definitely saying it won't happen, but I hope it does happen. And, you know, getting out there, it may be that I through hiking's not for me, as you know, as exciting as it sounds and looks on YouTube channels and watching other people do it. Once I get out there and start doing it, it might be a different story. I don't know. I'm hoping not, but you know, being outdoors 24/7 in weather is going to be my big downfall. Because I do not like being outside when it's cold. I mean, this past couple of weeks, it's been down in the 30s at night, and you know, nighttime is when I go out for my walks. Hold on. And I just haven't been getting out because it's been too cold. But I'm also not wearing all the layers that I would be wearing if I was out there. So, you know, it's going to be one of those, you know, I'm going to have to be prepared for it. I'm going to have the layers of clothing to have on. And maybe when I get out there, it won't be so bad. And then you have to worry about it being that cold and raining, which, you know, sure, you might have you know, rain gear, but that doesn't mean you're going to stay dry. And being wet and cold, you're just inviting hypothermia, you know. I had to do that when I was in the Army. Being stationed in upstate New York, we were out in the field in the snow and the cold and blizzards and everything else. But I was also 20 years old, infinitely more in shape and used to being outside. So I think it's just going to have to be, I'm going to have to get out there and do it and just be in that situation for all of that acclimatization to come back. Because I do, from what I've seen, highly suspect that the good will infinitely outweigh the bad. And I do want to have the experience of hiking all the way, doing the entire trail. Once I get that out of my way and go on to the PCT and the CDT, it's going to be a lot better because, it's going to be a lot warmer. It's just, being in the mountains, almost 100% of the time on the East Coast, in the fog and the rain and the colder temperatures, it's going to be a lot worse than being out in California where it hardly ever rains and it's warm, if not hot. The big thing I'm going to have to worry about then, and even when I'm in New Mexico, even though it's going to be cooler in New Mexico, I'm going to have to keep remembering to hydrate, because that's the big thing. I don't hydrate. I don't drink water. I'll have my coffee in the morning, and then I won't drink anything else, like all day. Of course, I'm not doing anything all day either. If I'm at work, I'm drinking water, but not nearly as much as I should. So, yeah, the big thing about 2024 is going to be our living situation and possibly where we're at. I mean, obviously, if we move, I'm not going to be able to work for Amazon unless I can find a position out there, or I may have a job where I'm working remotely. I don't know. If I find one that I can do, that could be a possibility. And then it doesn't matter where I live, I can always work. So I'm kind of rooting for California myself. I know the rent won't change much, and we won't necessarily have a roommate, but hopefully it would be something that my wife could pay for without my financial help, so I can hike the trails. But also, you got to keep in consideration that she's going to be helping me fund my through hike. So it might be better off to find a place here that's going to be a lot cheaper. And, have our son move in and pay half the rent. Because then she can definitely, pay half the rent. And hopefully, one of the girls is talking about staying now, and not moving out. So my wife's thinking about trying to find a place that has like 2 living areas, like an upstairs, almost like an upstairs with a master bedroom and a living area, and the downstairs with a master bedroom and maybe another bedroom and a living area. So they can have the upstairs and we can have the downstairs. And, or, kind of like a mother-in-law suite or something that they can live in. I don't know. But hopefully, we'll find a living situation that will accommodate everybody, including my through hike. And, obviously once we move and I'm not paying half the rent, if that scenario plays out, hold on. 26 minutes, 4 seconds per mile. Yeah, if that happens, then whatever I'm making working and my VA disability check, that will all go to savings. And that will be my savings for my through hike. So I'll have something saved to help out. And I might even have enough saved for a complete through hike. And she wouldn't have to help me that much. But one way or the other, I would hope that the financing for a through hike would be there. And of course, I'm still buying lottery tickets for the Powerball and Mega Millions. So who knows? I've got two tickets right now for the Powerball. It's the lump sum payouts like 480 million. You take a quarter away from that, that's still over 300 million. So maybe even 400 million. I haven't done the math on it yet. I usually do. I'll take the lump sum amount, take a quarter of it out, multiply it times 0.25 and then subtract that amount from the total, and that's how much I would actually get. And then I would probably say if it was 400 million, I would give 20 million each to the kids, 3 kids, so that's 60 million, and 100 million to the wife. And I would divide the rest of it between my checking, my savings, and then I would open up a interest-bearing passbook savings account that Randolph Brooks has, that I believe it pays 2% interest compounded monthly. So that way a good portion of my money would be making me money for the long term. So that's always something that I'm going to be doing as long as I can afford lottery tickets, until the day I die or I actually win. And of course, I have plans on asking a friend of mine to actually hike the trails with me, and I would give him $1 million per trail to do that. I'd give him the first $1 million up front so he could set up a trust for his kids to go to college or whatever, take care of whatever he needs to take care of. Then the second 2 trails, I would give him $1 million each after the trail was complete. And if I have, a lot of millions of dollars, I would actually give him like $2 or $3 more $1 million once everything was finished. So he'd have anywhere from $3 to $5 million total, so he could live whatever lifestyle choice he wants, which would probably be buying a decent RV and just living the RV life full time, because that's him. He hates to be tied down, and since he's been divorced, he's been struggling. So and a while back he lost his job. I don't know if he's found another job yet or not, I think he probably has by now. It's been a couple months. I wouldn't imagine he'd still be on unemployment. But it's something that I think he would actually do, given that amount of money. And I had asked him when I was planning on through hiking the Appalachian Trail years ago if he wanted to go with me, and he goes, man, I would love to, but I've got to find a job, I've got to get an apartment, I've got to get a car so I can see my kids. He had just gotten divorced, and he had to get into a situation where he could have his kids come over to visit. And I understood that, I respected that, but now he can take care of the kids and go do what he wants. Since most of them are out of high school, I think he has one left in high school, and they'd be able to go to college and get whatever degree they want. So, and it would give me company on the trail. I mean, if it doesn't happen out that way, I don't get the lottery and I'm paying for it myself, and I'm still gonna do it. Just because I'd be alone, it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna do it. Company's all well and good, but it's not gonna stop me from doing it. If I'm just going out there and doing it by myself, I'll meet people out there. I mean, that's a given. And hopefully I have a nice little trail family. Come on, focus. There we go. Hopefully I get a nice little trail family out there that I can connect with. But that's pretty much what 2024 is going to hold for us. Just keep working here at the Smile Factory, and we'll be moving, or we could possibly be renewing our lease again, especially if our son's going to move in with us with his fiance. One of the girls is definitely moving out, so she says. So there's that bedroom, and we have the fourth bedroom. So the biggest concern is they have a big ass dog too, and with their dog, and I think they have a cat now too. And then obviously my wife's dog, the husky. It's gonna be a madhouse, man, a madhouse. And I'm gonna want to be gone. I am not gonna want to be in a house with two big ass dogs. I don't like being in a house with one big ass dog. I am not a dog person, I'm a cat person. So that's the hopes and dreams for 2024. And I guess I will go ahead and cut this down. Christmas was good. We had a nice little Yule party. Invited a whole bunch of family and friends. Had tons of food. Played some games. And just had a really good time. And that's our annual holiday gathering. Both the wife and I are more on the pagan side of spirituality, so we celebrate Yule with our friends and then we'll have Christmas morning with our family and do the present thing. We got the girls a couple of gifts, and I got my wife a yoga tarot deck that she had been wanting. It's not really a tarot deck, it's just a card deck with different poses, and you can use them as a teaching method with students. She is a licensed instructor. So she was really happy about that. That's the one thing that she had asked for. And so when I ordered it, they actually had an expansion deck, and I got it for her too, even though she didn't ask for it. I don't think she knew about it, but she was really happy about it. We actually, she actually got something for her brother, Danny. He was an electrical lineman all his life, and he's retired. But there was a sketch artist at Canton Trade Days when we went down to that area for our anniversary, that had a couple of sketches of linemen, doing the work on the poles and stuff. And so he had two different ones, and she bought prints of both. Not really prints. He does it all by hand. Even the prints. He does all the prints by hand. He just, he was really amazing. He was probably in his 70s, and he just had a ton of really good artwork. And honestly, I don't know how he did it. A lot of he did, pencil sketches. All of it was pencil sketches. And embedded within the artwork is like words and phrases, and they're biblical, Christian by nature. But, that doesn't really matter to us. It's all spiritual. And the writing is so tiny that you'd be lucky to pick it up with the naked eye. I see things like that. I don't know if I'm ADHD or autistic in some way, but I notice things like that. So, and of course she noticed them too. But she's an artist, she's gonna notice it. She does sketches and painting herself. So she's gonna get that framed and get that to him whenever we see him next. Which would probably be within the next couple of months, because the oldest daughter has to retake her driver's test. She failed the parallel parking. She not only failed, she almost pulled out in front of somebody and caused an accident. So she automatically failed. So she's got to retake her test. But that brother of hers, her uncle, the daughter's uncle, bought her a car. So whenever she does get her license, we need to go to his place and pick it up. It's a Toyota Camry, I think it is. Like a 2014 or whatever. My wife has seen it. She says it's a decent looking car. It was one of those. It was a rental car. So, it's got miles on it, but it's in really good condition. My brother-in-law knows a guy in California that runs an auction or sells at an auction, and he's able to get vehicles from him at cost. So that's how I got my truck. That's how my stepson got his truck. And it's just something that he's been willing to do for us. Pay for these cars and give them to us, which he really didn't have to do. We would have paid him back for him, but he insisted. So, and we're kind of the only family that he has anything to do with. He's kind of disavowed the rest of the family. If you didn't know him, he'd seem like a crotchety old man, but a lot of that is just a facade. He's not really that way. He's a really good guy. So, anyway, that will pretty much do it. It's always weird seeing the parking lot this empty. Hello. I mean, there's nobody here. There's one car over there. It looks like a cop car. But, it's New Year's Eve. The warehouse is closed. There's nobody working. I mean, it's open. There's lights on inside, but it's probably just security. On Christmas Day, that was another story. There was nobody there. All the lights were off. There was nobody there. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. I hope y'all have a great new year. I wish y'all all love and prosperity, and y'all stay safe and look out for each other. Just like you probably have a support network, be there for other people. Be somebody else's support network. There were many, many, many times where we needed help, and people were there for us. And vice versa, there was a lot of times people came to us for help, and we were able to help them. And that's what family and friends do. Not only the family you're born into, but the family you choose. And I'm a big believer in having the family you choose. Not only because I was adopted and I had to choose that family, even though they chose me as well, but my birth family as well. They didn't have to accept me the way they did when I found them using that DNA test kit and reached out, but they did. And I have been blessed for having them in my life, even though I don't reach out nearly enough. That's something I'm going to have to work on. That's going to be my New Year's resolution, is to be more involved in family. Not only my birth family, but also the adopted family. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but my mother is going through the early stages of dementia, and she's been dealing with that since COVID. She had knee replacement surgery, and the anesthesia they gave her triggered it. She had an adverse reaction to it, and it caused a significant mental, or not mental decline, but she's losing memories, and there's certain things that she doesn't remember anymore, and it's only going to get worse, and it has been getting worse. And I haven't been able to see her since before COVID. So hopefully within the next couple of months we'll be able to make a trip down there and see them. before it gets so bad that she doesn't recognize us anymore. I mean, it's not Alzheimer's, but might as well be. I mean, there's already stories that we've told each other for years and years and years that she's starting to remember facts wrong. So, you know, it worries me. That's one of the biggest fears that I've had in my adult life is losing my mother. To the point where I won't even think about it. I just don't know what I would do. And I don't want to think about what I would do. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So, you know, I'm worried. And I know it's inevitable, but hopefully it's a long way away. All right, I keep saying I'm cutting down, and I'm really going to cut down this time. So if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, like the video, and share it with your friends and family. Everybody that likes hiking, camping, backpacking, listening to kooky guys talk about their lives, you know, because we got that in spades. You know, and y'all stay safe. Y'all stay sane. And get out and hike a trail. You'll thank me for it, and you'll feel so much better. Until next time, this is Gecko saying bye.